Well, good morning and welcome to Footsteps and Tyretracks. Today we're going to make a fixed bed for the van. As you are well aware, we've been sleeping at the last couple of campouts on a mattress on the floor. Now my plan is to do a fixed bed, and I'm going to do it slightly different to the way everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is using the IKEA struts and mounting them on metal brackets to the side. Now I'm going to go for the same sort of idea, and you'll see what I'm doing in a minute, but I'm not using the IKEA, I think they're called Strava struts. I'm going to use wood. We're Mark and V, and this is our adventures. Because I believe there's a thermal property saving. Is that right? I don't know. You know, everybody talks about thermal properties and all the rest of it. My theory is that if you've got a metal bracket mounted to the metal of the frame on the outside, you're going to take some of the code into the van, and maybe the metal will sweat. Will it? I don't know. Anyway, the reason I'm doing it this way is because we did it on our previous crafter, and I'm going to show you some pictures of that now. And we had a Crafter Mark 1 and it worked really, really well. So we're going to do it again. I'm going to lay it all out on the floor to show you what I've bought and how I think I'm going to do it. Well, I'm just going to lay it out first of all in front of us, and I'm going to show you the theory behind my thinking and how I did it last time, and hopefully how I do it again, and it's going to work perfectly well. So if you have a normal bed, let's come around there so the shadows aren't there. If you have a normal bed, you have these plastic receivers with the struts. So I've bought a set of bed slats and the plastic receivers, and I'm going to build a frame like this. So this will be a 4'6" bed. So obviously that's where, you know, we won't have the extended pieces here. This is just the wood before it's been cut. So this is exactly how it's going to be, and you'll have slats all down through the middle, and that will give us a 4'6" bed. So I'll come back round to the van, and we're going to remove these panels here and there, and we'll mount the bed on this beam here, which is the same place that everybody else is mounting them. I forgot to say as well, every right angle will be braced with one of these as well. That just stops a bit of twisting. They're about £2.70 each at B&Q, but you can probably get them cheaper if you look. A few measurements here just in case you're interested. For a 4'6" bed, this will be. That measurement there is 65 centimeters. Now obviously the length is going to be determined by the van. We'll work that out when we get the, we're going to have that one and that one cut first and then mounted in the van. We'll have to put rivnuts in there as well to take it into the van. So I'm going to remove that panel and there are two panels there, so we can get the bed in. We'll just work out roughly where it's going to go. So it's 65 centimeters, so I can measure that across and just see if I have to take that second panel off or not. Right, I don't know how many of you lose screws when you're taking things apart. Well, get yourself one of these. It's a magnetic dish, mechanics dish. I use them all the time. They're great, you know, if you're not using them, just stick them up to your work surface when you know, that one there's come unstuck by the way, but it still works in principle. So what I do when you're removing your screws, put them in there, you don't lose them, do you? can just leave that like that if I wanted. I don't even know if you can see that. Let's bring it round here. So I can leave it like that. Look. There's all my screws. Don't lose them. Really handy tip, I think. I've been using them for years. And working on cars, whatever, you don't drop screws, bolts, nuts down in the engine. Just a brilliant thing. And they're relatively cheap as well. A couple of quid, I don't know. Well, these are so old, as you can see. Bottom. But yeah, brilliant. And just in case you're wondering what Caban is on my t-shirt, it's a car museum in Sanur in Bali, and it really is great. It's a Japanese guy who collects cars. He used to collect model cars when he was a youngster, and he's just carried on, and now he collects real cars. And I'll put a link up here, and you can see when I visited it last year. Now, thinking about where the bed is going to actually sit as well is another important thing. We've obviously had a pod put into the van, and I really want to make use of that as much as possible. So the mattress is about 6 inches high, roughly. You know, when you sat on it or laying on it, it's going to squash a bit, but it sort of gives you an idea. This is going to be where our feet are anyway. So if we were to come from these hose, it sort of gives you the right height, doesn't it? So that mattress is just going to finish at this sort of height, and then it's going to give you that little bit of extra foot space and allow the mattress to squash in a little bit. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And that's going to give us plenty of headroom sat in the bed. We don't have to have a high garage. We're not going to put anything underneath like big bikes or anything like that. So I think it's more important to have the comfort up above. And obviously we'll be having units here and here, so you don't want to be banging your head on them all the time. And I think if the bed is at this height, you can sort of sit up and look out through the window. We will have to think what we're going to actually do with the window blinds, but we'll come up with that at a later stage. I'm thinking magnetic maybe. I'm not really sure. I think that's metal. So we'll find out. Let's see if it is. Nope. No, that's not metal. So we'll have to think. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we could glue some magnets into the pod, so we could just have magnetic curtains go up there. We'll have a solution anyway. Whatever I do, I'm gonna have to think about it quick, because we need it to be underneath, really, so it doesn't look ugly. Anyway, let's get on and carry on building the bed. Well, this is something I wasn't anticipating. Look at that. Where the van bends out or curves in at that point there. So we may have to modify our plans. I'm just going to have a look at that and see what we can do. Right, I've had a long, hard think about this. Now, this is the curve. I don't know if you can see this word. That is, it's like a straight line, and it just curves there slightly to bring it, the taper back in on the van. I've used this tool here. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. This is, you know, I don't know what they call them actually, but I will find out and I'll put it down below. They bought it for me for a Christmas present, just so I can do some more DIY for her. So that's my idea, to cut them in like that, and I'll do that both sides. That gives me a straight edge that I'm coming up to, and I'll still have a complete frame to lift in at that point then. The other alternative is I cut a section out there and have it like that, but then the beam going across is going to have to be cut at an angle, and if I was to wanted to remove it, there would be multiple pieces to remove, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to go with this method, and hopefully, of course, sunny out there, isn't it? Hopefully, it's going to work. Now, if it doesn't, it'll be my mistake, and you'll learn from it as well, won't you? So we'll see how we get on. That wasn't the easiest thing to cut, I can tell you that for sure. There must be a better way of doing that. However, let's go and offer it up in a van and see what it looks like. One-handed holding this in at the moment, but I think once that's bolted in, that's going to be all right. That's going to sit somewhere like that. That said, it'll be... Ah, V's going to help me. Cheers, V. So there we are. That's roughly what it's going to be like. And we'll use rivnuts behind. I don't think it's any point in reinventing everything, so I can get my finger in behind these. So the idea is I'll put a spreader washer behind. Yeah, I can get my finger to all of them. So I'll put spreader washers behind. I think I'll probably have 4 either side. Okay, so we've cut the 2 pieces of the wood now. We've trimmed the edge off so they both fit in quite nicely. Next thing is rivnuts. I'm going to use the existing hose, but I am going to have to drill them out a bit more. I'm going to use M8 rivnuts, and that will require an 11mm drill to drill the hose out, and then we're going to, unfortunately, we're waiting for the rivnut gun to turn up. It should be here, but that hasn't quite arrived yet, so hopefully the delivery driver will turn up very soon. But we've still got the hose to drill in the wood, and we can start making up everything else anyway, so that's not going to hold us up. Some of them have quite sharp bits behind, so it's a case of putting some gloves on and just cleaning the bit of metal behind. Right, over to this side. We will have to get all the little bits of metal out there, so I think we'll just use a hoover to get in there and get all the bits of metal out. Okay, so the next thing to do is we're going to drill the holes in the wood. So we've got the spacing marked out, and the lines, we actually have lines above, we're actually dead center of the hose, and that's on both. So we're going to use bolts like that for the washer. In behind the roof nut, I'm going to have a bigger washer to act as a bit of a spreader, just to make it a bit stronger. I don't know if I'm going to need to do that really, but I want to have the nuts just sunk down a little tiny bit, so I will drill a slightly bigger hole the depth of the nut, and then drill the hole for the rest of the bolt through, and then they'll just sit nice and flush and nothing will be sticking out, for no other reason really than just tardiness. I can't think of any reason for doing it, but I just think I'll do it for tardiness. Well, there we go. The delivery driver's been, and we've now got our lovely rivnut tool. I have one of the sort of squeezy ones, but I wanted one of these because I reckon it'd do it a lot better. So fingers crossed that's going to be a good tool to have. That was about 38 quid that was on Amazon. So it wasn't cheap, but I'm hoping it's going to be useful. I'm going to put Unistrut on the roof and everything for the solar panels at some stage. So we'll be rivnutting that as well. So, you know, it's a worthy tool to buy. And I think if you buy decent tools, eventually, you know, they pay off themselves. Back to what we're doing. So we're now going to put the rivnuts in this side. So I'm going to just mount the camera up behind. I've got this magnetic clamp, which I've put up. And hopefully we can see down there. Yeah, we can. Which I've mounted my action free on. And it works brilliantly because, you know, while I'm doing this fan, I can just like mount it wherever I want on the metalwork at the moment. Won't always be metalwork like this though. Right, so the idea is we're going to have a rivnut going through and a spreader plate on the back. A bit like this. So I'm hoping that will be the way to do it. So, fingers crossed. And I think what we do is we just literally do that. I'm not sure. Yeah, do it the other way, don't I? Right, first time I've used one of these, so I'll take it we just do that, and then coming back in is with the way we squeeze it together again. So much we can. Talking to myself here, talk amongst yourselves while I'm just trying to suss this out. Right, let's have a go at this. This is the first one, so you guys are gonna witness me learning how to use this tool. So I'm going to put the rivnut through. Just got my finger on the inside, that's not so nice. Actually, I've just had a thought. I've not treated any of the hose yet with bare metal, so we better do that first. So we'll be back in a minute. I decided just to quickly splat it with some primer, and that looks pretty good to me. That's covered everything, so I'm not worried because you're not going to see that. So that's a good coat in there, I think. And we'll get back to where we were. This is where I caught my finger last time, so I'll try and do it again. I don't know how far you're going to go. Well, that won't squeeze up anymore, so I reckon that's as far as we go. That's how you take them out, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. So there we are, one rivnut in place. That looks quite tidy. Right, let's carry on. Right, we're not going to bore you and keep on letting you watch that with nothing much else happening. So there's two, you can see them, look, they've gone in really nicely. It's pretty solid, isn't it? So hopefully that's going to be good. And I've just had a thought about that one going in on the taper. That might cause a little bit of an issue. We'll have to see what happens. Anyway, we'll come back in a little while when we've done this bit. Right, moment of truth, isn't that really? Just offer him up. Just so we're absolutely sure it fits, then we'll do the measurement across and we'll know what we're working with. I think we're going to possibly have the same issue here. Yeah, we are. Yeah, just as it pulls in a little bit. That's okay. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to measure the distance across, and then once we've done that, we can actually make the frame up. We'll take all this out, make the frame up properly, and we have the basic frame. Quite pleased. Really am quite pleased. I know it doesn't look much yet, but I know it's going to. Okay, so we've offered up the sides now, and we've measured between the two sides for the wooden beams, and now we're all ready to start putting the frame together. I had a little visit from some friends, so I sort of got a bit lost where I was. Anyway, here we are. I've cut the main beams out, as you can see. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together. Now I intend to screw 2 screws through each point, all the way round. And I made up a little jig here just to keep it consistent. And we're also going to put brackets on the insides. They will go in there just as belt and braces. Now what I'm doing is I'm using this tool to make sure all my angles are proper right angles. I've used it before in the last bed I did, and it was just so beneficial. Well, that's the basic frame made now. Still doesn't look much, does it? But that will go back into the van, and once that's all mounted in, we'll put the struts across it, and we got the basic bed. Okay, that was a bit of a struggle wiggling it in. I think maybe in hindsight I should have come in through the sliding door, not through the back doors. Lesson learned. So now we just got to get everything lined up. Easier said than done. Right, so we're now putting the little corner brackets in, these. Just open one up to the camera so you can see it properly. I said earlier on, these are the ones I bought at B&Q, they're about £2.70 each. But I would imagine you could buy them somewhere else a lot cheaper, probably online. It's just that we wanted them for this weekend, so we were stuck. And this is what we had to go for. Okay, so here's where we are. It's in, but it seems to bow slightly when you put weight on it. Not happy with it, so the decision is I think we need heavier duty wood for the cross members. 3x2, maybe 4x2. going across. It might be fine, but I'm not 100% happy. And changed a bit of the design as well. We've put larger washers in here so it pulls it right in tight. So that side of it works well. I'm just a bit concerned. I don't know. I really don't know. If we went for a deeper wood, it wouldn't, it wouldn't have that flex. It takes me weight, but you can see it bending. I don't know. I really not sure. I'm wondering whether they thought Mark 1 Crafter was just stronger. I mean, if I let's move that one out. Just want you to see. No, I have to put the camera down a bit. I don't know if you can see it. What I'm going to do, bring the camera right down. And then if I sit on it, there's a bit of flex. I don't know. Am I being a bit over the top? Am I really being... I don't know. It's going to be two of us on here and there. It's older than me, look. It's a lot of work to take it all out and put bigger hangers in, but I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to go for it. What do you think? It's definitely, it's not going to affect anything in that sense. I don't know. I think I'm going to sleep on it. I'm not going to do any more. We're going to stop and resume this tomorrow and have a think about it and then go from there. Problem is, bank holiday as well, isn't it? So I can't even get any wood. Well, we'll see you in the morning, I think. See how we feel. Well, okay, here we are, and we've had a little bit of time to think about things, and the decision is we're going to take it all out and build it with stronger wood. Larger wood. The wood here just ain't right, so bear with me. Gonna rip it all out. Start again. After a lot of deliberation and lots of messing around, I've come up with a final bed frame design. And what I've done is I've used the original side hangers, and then we've screwed in these beams that are going to take the bed's slats. I'll just get some. So we have wooden bed slats that are going plastic receivers, and they'll go across. Now I'm hoping that there'll be no flex in that. There was too much flex. I mean, it's not much difference. It's probably 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches maybe, difference. But it's going to make all the difference. Yeah, I'll show you the difference. I've got some offcuts of wood. So let me get some offcuts of wood. So that's original there. And you can see the hanger's just that much more. I mean, this is just in case, you know, you decide you're going to copy me, do something similar, improve on my idea. So the original one was 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches, 2.5 by 1.5, and the new one is 3.5 by 1 3/4. So it's not a lot, is it? It's not a lot, but I think it's going to make a substantial amount of difference. You know, we'll soon find out, because the next stage will be putting it back into the van, and hopefully then, God, it's bloody hot. It's so hot today, honestly. Once it's been put back in the van, then we can mount it all, and I'm really hoping that it won't bend. I was looking at the pictures I took of my original crafter, and I did use heavier duty wood all round, so that's why it was flexing. First of all, I hadn't used the right size wood. Anyway, we'll carry on now. Stop for some lunch, I think, and then we'll carry on, get this in the van, get it all bolted back in. By keeping all the original pieces that were mounted, the side pieces, I know that's just going to mount straight back in. So all that work that I've done will just be repeated. So the hose are there. We'll just bolt it all in again, and we'll be good to go to the next step. And hopefully by the end of the play today, we'll have a bed frame with a mattress on it, which will change the van immensely just for us, you know, just for being able to not sleep on the floor. And then we'll get back to thinking about carrying on with the installation side of things. Never ending, never ending. And there we are. We've now got the bed frame back in. I'm just bolting it back up. Fingers crossed it's going to be far more substantial. I think it will be. So just to recap, we've used the original hose on the side of the frame of the crafter with rivnuts, and I put spreaders, washers behind, sort of spread it a little bit, big washers. But you've seen all that as we were doing it. So now I'm just gonna nip all these up. Just doing them, getting them all sort of almost there, and then I'll go around and tighten them all up. No particular reason why I'm doing it this way, I don't think. Okay, now we've got the bed bolted in, as I was saying, and I'm now working out the slats. It's one of these things where you've got to sort of do a little bit of mathematics and work it out. It's 70 from end to end, and I've worked out that if we use a 3-inch spacer, that spaces them all out nice and evenly, and at either end we'll have 4 inches in from the end. So that would roughly space them. Let me just try and show you there how we're doing it. So you can see them three. That's how much they'd roughly be spaced. So the next thing is, I want to, obviously we've got to make a hose to receive the plastic receivers. I'm trying to think what the word was then. To hose for the plastic receivers to go into. I'm thinking I'll make a template that I can have one hole drilled and then be able to drill multiple holes at the same time. I'm hoping that's going to make it quicker long term. What I will do as well is I will do a pencil line where they have to be, so we know everything is going to be in the right place. It's funny how you can make silly mistakes at this point, and I'm really hoping it all goes quite smoothly now. So I'm just going to start making the template now, and so what else? 1, 2, and then a third one. So we'll make it in this piece of wood here, and I'm hoping everything works out right, really. I've thought about doing it in metal, but I've looked and I've not really got any metal to be able to make the template with, which is a shame. I think it'd have probably been better making it in metal. So I've now made this wooden template, and I've drilled 3 sets of holes into it. Now these 3 sets of holes I'll keep on unclamping, move down and do it again. A bit of a slow process. Well, it's all in place, and the final step is to hoover out, because sawdust everywhere on the mattress, everything, and then put the mattress in place, and hopefully it'll be pretty good. I mean, it's like a proper bed now, isn't it? Proper springy slats. I'm really pleased. And I know a lot of you are going to be saying that, you know, I should have done the floor first and I should have done other bits and pieces first. Well, we do use the van for camping a lot as well while we're building it. So the fact is, having the bed up, it's going to be a pain doing the build, but it's going to be lots more advantages to it when we're actually camping. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. Anyway, if you weren't going to be using a van for camping, I wouldn't do this before you've done the floor and the electrics and that. But, you know, we're just awkward, aren't we? Anyway, let's get this all cleaned up, and then we'll get back, put the mattress on, and we'll show you the final results. And I suppose I'd better get on it and test it as well, won't I? Here we are. The mattress is on, although there will be a bit of modification. There's going to have to be a little bit of trimming done to the mattress, because where it goes into the pod, I've taken the bed right to the back of the van, so there's going to have to be a little corner cut out there. Not too bad. And I think when we get the shower unit, we may encroach slightly on the bed down that end. The last van we had, the Ducati for Fiat Ducato, if you remember, the bed was tapered at the bottom. Now, we thought that was going to be a problem, but to be perfectly honest, it wasn't. So that will probably come at a later stage. The build will be slightly different then, and we may have to put a bit of support underneath to achieve that. I'm not really sure. However, with all the things that went wrong last week, we now have a bed in the van. And look at this. I can lay out, and I got good fist and a bit above my head, and my feet can't touch the bottom. I'm only 5'8", but you know, for someone who's a bit bigger, could have pulled both sides. But I think I'm happy. I really do. If I just take the camera off that. That's where we're going to have to trim the mattress. I don't know if this is a mattress we'll keep. This is just a cheap mattress we bought initially for on the floor. So we may get a memory foam mattress or something. And then we'll just very carefully trim it in around the bottom. That's, yeah, something we'll have to do. But, you know, we're coming right back into this side as well. I'm not quite sure how we're going to achieve that yet, but this is obviously going to have to go. Let me just hold the camera properly. This will obviously have to go, so we'll have to. I think we'll probably cut it across there and cut it across there and just remove that completely, pretty much like it's been done up there. So that's that. Window's lower than I anticipated, to be perfectly honest. But that could be quite nice, couldn't it? Just allow a little bit of the air in. I wonder what that was then. Sliding door, innit? Fool. Anyway, so that brings us to the close of this one. So, how not to do it and how we did do it. And I'm quite happy with the bed now. We will have to think about how we're going to have steps and everything else in here. But when you look around the rest of the van, is that a tractor go by a minute? We moved out a bit further into the countryside, and that's the noisiest thing there, is the tractors. When you think we're going to have two chairs there that, well, it won't be them two, but it'll be two single chairs that rotate. With a chair in front here somewhere, double chair with a table in the middle, shower unit there, and kitchen sink there. Sort of, you know, cooker, kitchen sink, and we'll have overhead pods there and there, and probably across there as well on the other side of where the toilet's going to be. So it's all starting to come together. Anyway, I've probably bored you enough now. So thanks for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. We really do appreciate everyone who does that. Helps the channel as well. Give us a like, and you know, maybe even share it with your friends. You know, if you think this is going to help someone else out, show them how maybe not to do it. The mistakes we've made. Sometimes it's good to see a mistake rather than, you know, pure like professional going all the way and it not going wrong. So I don't know how you feel about that. Anyway, I'm wrapping it up now. See you later, guys. Look after yourself. Bye.